So the National BVD Survey, which hopefully some of you have heard about, was again done under the BVD Zero banner. And I should just mention there's a few things just on the walls here that we've also done with BVD Zero. There was a web congress 2 years ago, 2015, and one in 2017. We also had a BVD Zero award in 2016, and we actually have some of the finalists here as well, which is great. And a few of the cases are written up in poster format as well, if you want to have a look round at some of those posters, some good, really good cases. So this National BVD Survey has run for 2 years now, and the aim of the survey really was just to get an appreciation of what farmers understand to be the impact of BVD on them, what are they doing currently, and what would they like to do about it. The 2017 surveys were sent out in the dairy and the beef farming press, and were also available online. There were 16 questions available this year, and they were similar to the questions last year to allow us to build up a picture really of how responses changed. There was also input from some of the eradication bodies, so thank you very much, and also the University of Nottingham. So just a bit of a background on the respondents. So there were 625 this year, and there was a good split between dairy, beef, and a bit of both. Average herd size, 189 for dairy, so a bit more than national average of about 150, and beef, again, a bit more than your national average of around 40. This year we also asked for where people were responding from, and again we had a nice representation from around the UK and dependencies. So we had 2 from the Isle of Man, which is very pleased about. Yeah, we had a nice spread. So when farmers are asked what their replacement policy of the last 12 months has been, they could tick multiple answers. 47% of herds were closed, and just 21% said they brought bulls onto the farm. Now, when you drill down and actually look at those that said they were closed, we can see that 5% of the closed herds actually reared away, and 24% brought bulls onto the farm. So that perception of a closed herd maybe differs a little bit to what a swine or a poultry producer may perceive to be closed flocks or herds. On the subject of BVD eradication, when farmers were asked if they would be in favour of participating in a BVD eradication programme, 97% would be keen. Obviously, got to be a little bit biased because I've filled out a survey on BVD, but still excellent response, and that was similar to 2016 as well. And encouragingly, when asked if they had already enrolled in a BVD eradication programme, 64% had done, with 20% members of national programmes and 29% in vet programmes. So farmers in favour of participating in a BVD eradication programme were then asked what would most motivate you to commit to signing up to an eradication programme, and 47% said getting industry on board, which is excellent that we've got so many people here from across a whole range of industry. I will just pick out some responses from countries that are relevant actually. So interestingly, of the 79 Welsh respondents, 37% suggested a financial incentive, and the average was 26%. So yeah, just get some interesting feedback from the different countries. It's surprising how similar they are between countries as well, actually, some of these responses. And when they are different, I'll point them out. So respondents were then asked which features of an eradication programme are most important in their view, ticking up to 3 boxes. 72% PI identification, so that's excellent that they appreciate that is central. 41% said a vaccination programme, and 36% said auction market involvement, with a similar figure for vet support. So on the topic of vaccination, farmers were asked if they do vaccinate, which 2 aspects are most important to you, and the 2 biggest responses were 12 months, proven 12 months, and being recommended by my vet. And that really supports, again, similar work at the University of Nottingham, saying that vets really are central to advice on BVD. This is another question that was asked. Where do farmers get BVD information? 90% saying they're vet, and more than twice as many stated their vet as stated the farming press. It's maybe bad news for Peter Hollinshead that's in here, and half again for BVD specific events. The proven 12 months protection is an interesting one, perhaps not surprising from a compliance and convenience point of view. So when responses were filtered by vaccine used, most farmers using a 6-monthly vaccine once a year were doing so in all year round calving herds or extended calving patterns. So these would leave cows at risk of breakdown. Going back to diagnostics, 56% of farmers would prefer using tag and testing. Response for blood testing was 17% and 16% for milk testing. Of interest in Northern Ireland was that 86% of 59 responses were in favour of tag testing, which is really showing the support for their regional scheme. Of those that are currently tag testing, only 41% are tagging all calves alive or dead. This was higher in Northern Ireland at 71%, but did leave the 29% only tagging live calves. And this does highlight some of the challenges for relatively straightforward diagnostic testing, even when the figures for the Northern Irish programme suggest compliance is really very high. Another interesting question posed was, what do you do with any identified PI animals? 47% said they never had any, which is either very good or maybe just not been looking. 38%, and by far the majority of the rest of them, would cull immediately, which is excellent. However, there were a few that would sell them. 2%, 8 farmers would sell them. 5% would isolate and rear, 4% rear to slaughter, 4% do nothing. So these figures are quite surprising when actually the following slides show that farmers do perceive the impact of BVD to be severe. When asked what impact BVD had on herds, the majority said effects on fertility, followed by no impact, and then disease in calves. When asked if BVD has or has ever been a problem in your herd, 18% weren't sure if it had, and almost half of farmers have had BVD in the past or have it currently. And this fits with previous surveys on BVD prevalence from around the UK. Now, looking at the economic impact of BVD, the 2016 survey provided some quite surprising results, really, on what farmers perceived as the benefit per head of being free of BVD. So, over 3/4 of respondents said between £10 and £40, with around half saying £40. So we're interested to see this year whether that would be repeated. And indeed, responses were very similar. One question may well be, did you use the same farmers that you asked last year? And actually the press that was used was slightly different to last year. So yes, there may well be some overlap, but actually we'd expect those farmers responding to be quite different. So this, again, supports the 2016 results, but also supports some of the economic impact information that's out there as well on academic papers, from which has been a lot actually in Ireland and the UK. Final question asked just about knowledge of BVD type 2 with the option to tick as many as appropriate. And the majority of respondents in 2017 were aware of it, which was up on 2016, which is excellent. And just finally coming to summary, So we had good representation from across the UK, including the Isle of Man, which is good, and a good representation from beef and dairy farmers. We've got great support for the eradication programmes, giving a great mandate for what we're doing here. Farmers are aware of the economic impact of BVD, and that should certainly be played back to them, and certainly the dangers of it, and they do want to eradicate it, which is excellent. There's perhaps a need to further educate on biosecurity, as we've seen, and that would include appropriate use of vaccination as well. At the end of the day, the fact that everybody is here is testament to the fact that people want to do something about this, which is excellent, and hopefully the afternoon session we can really take some good actions home and in our own spheres of influence affect the outcome of the eradication programmes. So that is it from me. Thank you very much.
Time for questions. Paul.
Sorry, yes, the microphone is not, you can't hear it, but the cameras can. So apologies, I should have explained that earlier on.
Matt, thanks for that. The question on farmers 56% supporting tag and test, how was that asked? Because I could phrase that question if I wanted to make farmers not want it or to want it. It depends on how you ask the question. So could you elaborate on that, please?
The question was, if I recall, what's your favourite option for testing? And the options were blood, milk, tag and test, not sure. So yeah, I can certainly send you, well, I can show you the form actually.
I'm just interested because obviously my take on this is the complexities of it, and it depends on, BCVA is always trying to stress veterinary involvement because the right testing depends on the situation. So it's a complex area to me.
No, very much so, yeah.
Any other questions? Matt, I think I'm right in believing that these results are going to be published shortly?
The results from the 2016 are going to be published in the vet record.
So they're in press, are they?
If I manage to get the amends back to them before the end of July. But these results for this will be on BVD Zero website. There's a few articles out there as well. If there's areas that are of interest to you, happy to provide information to your relevant areas as well. Happy for people to make use of that.
Very good. So the information will soon be out there for you to check.
Thanks.
Further examine. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you.